Well, hello there. It is David Mamano, and you are listening to, yes, the David Mamano Show. So happy that you're here today. I'm so excited. I'm honored. There are gazillions of podcasts out there, and you chose mine to listen and or watch today. Now, if you're listening, super fantastic. Thank you. If you're watching, big plus, because my guest today is like extra handsome and he's got a great sweater on. So if you can watch this, we're on YouTube. In fact, if you didn't know this, Spotify now offers video as well. I mean, Apple Podcasts has got off their game. But anyway, I am getting a little diverted here. I want to talk about our great guest today. Today's guest is a man who has turned fun into a full-blown leadership strategy. He is the founder of the Fun Department, a culture-building powerhouse that's worked with everyone from Fortune 100 giants to scrappy startups and everywhere in between. He's a keynote speaker, a workplace engagement expert, and the guy who's proved that fun isn't fluff. It's a measurable business advantage. Known across the country as the godfather of fun. I love that. He helps teams boost morale, deepen connection, and perform at their absolute best. Get ready for stories, laughs, and real-world wisdom on how to build happier, healthier, more productive workplaces. Please welcome Nick Gianoulis. Nick, welcome to the show. How are you, buddy?
Great, David. Thanks, buddy. Always great to see you, man. And I love the energy. You're bringing it.
You know, you make it happen. You light my cells on fire just seeing your face. I'm ready to rock and roll, Nick. Now, I love your name. The full name is Nicholas, obviously. A nice Irish guy. Just kidding. You are all Greek, right? You're just like oozing Greek. Is that right?
Yeah, so I thought I was, but according to 23andMe, I'm more Italian than Greek. My dad would be rolling over in his grave. I mean, he really would. He was all about the Greek, culture. But anyway, Mediterranean, close enough, right?
Sure. Well, I'm Sicilian, and like all my grandparents are from Sicily, and the Greeks first conquered Sicily, right? They were the first to kind of colonize, and so I think we're all mixed, right?
Yeah.
Italians are Greek, Greek are Italian. I mean, My uncle took the DNA test. He's found out he's 24% Arab from Northern Africa back in the day because they conquered Sicily. So that's probably where I get my curly hair. But, we love it all, right? It's one big world, one big hug. But Nick, so you are the godfather of fun, which is like the coolest title ever. You have really built on the theme that I have, really, dove into the past, I'll say 5-6 years, taking my love of comedy and business and kind of mixing them together. But you're kind of the OG. Like you were one of the first ones. I want to say, is it 20 years ago? Can I say that? Is it 20 years ago?
Absolutely. So literally this coming January 1 will be our 20th year anniversary. So yeah, you spot on.
Well, God bless you, because it must. I mean, it's a little difficult now to call businesses and saying, hey, I can make your business better through fun, joy, levity, humor, play, and a lot of them are like, oh, that's cute, but we're bringing in McKinsey, but you were doing this 20 years ago, so let's back up. What were you doing before, and how did you get into creating the Fun Department? Tell us about the whole path here, how it got started.
Little background in history. So I was in the corporate world, right? And a young manager in a totally unrelated business, electrical wholesale distribution, very commodity driven, nothing flashy about that business at all. But what I recognized in this company is that they had this work hard, play hard culture. So I was fascinated by the play hard part because I already knew how to work hard. I knew that was part of any success formula. But I literally thought that their competitive advantage was fun. They used fun to, celebrate, primarily celebrations, right? And the type, drinking after work or doing things after hours, but celebrating milestones. And people would talk about it forever. They just loved it. And this company had super high retention, super high productivity, super high profitability. So I thought, I'm going to incorporate fun because I already know how to have fun too. I'm going to incorporate that in my management style. And I did it with great success. I, became part of the turnaround team. We'd go to a branch that wasn't doing well. And I just approached it from the lighter side, and started to do things, use fun as a mechanism for better business results. So it was at first, doing this stuff after hours. And then I thought, what if we did things brief, smaller production, but consistently throughout the year on company time? Wouldn't that yield a better result? And that was my hypothesis, and became really the genesis for starting the company. Because we did that, I formed a committee called the Circuit Club. Thought that was cute because we were electrical wholesale distributors, and we planned these cool, fun activities, and people loved it. So that, and then I thought, hey, everybody should have a fun department. This works. We're generating great results. It's not costing us a ton of money. So that was really the genesis to start the company.
No, I love it. Well, and I just think about, like, you're talking about your father, and I know my father worked at Kodak for 30 plus years, our grandparents, right? Like, I don't know if they went to work thinking, like, I hope I have fun and play and joy in the workplace today. Like, that generation, they just went to work, and, if it was a great environment, that was kind of a bonus, but it was like, we're going to make money. We're going to make money. We're going to support our family, and work is work. And, fun is fun.
Grindstone, right? Yeah, just
right. Yeah.
Work hard and forget the fluff, right?
And what a great time we are in here in America, if not the whole world, where we can have the luxury of also adding all these extras into the workplace, into the DNA of the workplace, to make it even better. Yes. And a lot of people that I talk to are like, oh, that's cute. That's a nice to have, soft skills. And I'm like, BS. There's nothing soft about these skills. Like, they are the skills to have, right? They are the strategic advantage to maximize, as you said, not only, which is great, cohesion, culture, but profitability, right? Yeah. And, there's all this research out there, Harvard, Wharton, Gallup poll, Stanford, et cetera, that shows, like, leadership, even like precision and analytical capability, like, everything goes up. Right. Like, whoever said laughter is the best medicine, like, I was talking about this on a previous podcast. I don't know who is the author of that, like, but they nailed it, right? Like, laughter is the best medicine, right?
No, seriously. And 20 years ago, there was so little data, right? There was very, little research on fun and happiness. And thankfully today, there's, like you say, a plethora of that, data available. But I looked at certain companies back then, and there was like Southwest Airlines and Zappos and people who were doing it successfully. And to me, the proof in the pudding is, if you look at it today, the highest performing companies in any vertical space, it doesn't matter whether they're a defense contractor or finance or pharma, but they have incorporated this culture of fun and levity in the workplace. So the beauty is, I have the honor of working with some of the best companies in the country, in the world, right? So they are our clients because they get it. They understand that employees need humor. They know that it creates creativity and collaboration, just so many benefits. So a lot of those companies have actually established fun as one of their core values, in their business. So I find that to be the ultimate proof in the pudding, and sometimes I'll get a call from somebody who's saying, hey, this law firm down the street, they're getting all the hires, they're kind of kicking our butt, and they do this fun stuff. Can you help us? So even law firms who I thought were the ultimate fun killers, right? Because they can be the hardest to convince, but they are recognizing the value as well.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. What are some of the things that you're, without obviously, giving away your secret recipes here? What are some of the things that you're doing in companies to help them, instill more fun in the workplace, to grow all these different results that we were talking about?
Sure. So early on in the company's history, we kind of established this methodology, and I learned that, hey, fun is a process, right? It's like anything else you do. Like, if you do it repeatedly, you'll get better at it, right? So we started to identify what are the key elements of any fun experience, right? So we started capturing all that data. And then what things are fun for you, right? Like I thought there was such a thing as universal fun. Sorry to tell you, there's no such thing as universal fun. Fun is individual, but you can find a shared experience amongst any group. Doesn't matter if it's 2 people or 10,000 people, you can find a common shared experience. So when we start with an engagement with a client, we're entering into a longer term relationship. It's not a one and done. And 85% of our business is ongoing and continuous. So we first start by establishing what's your company's shared experience? What do you collectively like to do for fun? And then we build things around that, right? And so you're setting yourself up for success. You're asking people what they like, which is new and refreshing. Most people don't get asked that question at work. And so we collect all that data and we give it back to them in the form of a word cloud. And it's pretty obvious, the things that they most enjoy. Well, those are the things we should concentrate on. And then with that data, we apply the laws of fun, and we've established those over the years, things that like leadership, buy-in and participation. It's essential. If that doesn't happen, your chances of success go way down. If leadership is bought in and participates, 100% successful. So that's how important that is. And things like brief, consistent, on company time, all-inclusive, non-threatening. These are all elements that go into building a program. And then, so we have the shared experience, we have the laws of fun, and then we do this workshop where we co-create with clients the activity. So they're involved in the process. We teach them the methodology, the laws of fun, their shared experience, and then they come up with the ideas for the fun activities. They know their culture better than anybody, right? And then they own it, which is even better. So it's not, oh, Nick is telling me to do this, or David's telling me, or my boss is telling me to do this. We're doing it, we like it, and we want to see this happen. So it's a total, mind shift, right, from traditional team building, which has been, hey, I'm Mr. Team Building Company. Here's the 10 things or 5 things, whatever, that I say are fun for you. Pick one, and we'll be there. Like that just doesn't really work so much anymore. So
it's definitely like tailored and customized to the company.
Correct. So ours is, pretty bespoke that way, where it's really aligned and tailored to someone's culture, and they are active participants in the process. So that's kind of how we've evolved over the years. We used to deliver a lot of fun in the workplace, still do that to some extent, but we're really teaching people what we've learned over the years, right? So we've done this thousands of times in any kind of setting imaginable, and we just know what works. But giving the company the power to create and participate in it is really, that's the special sauce. That's when the cool stuff really happens. And they'll come up with ideas that are better often than what we can do, because we use this process. Somebody gives us, we do an intake, and they have some goals and desired outcomes. And so we'll create activities based on what they tell us. But ultimately, you get to the employees and you'll find out what you need to know.
So you're teaching them how to fish. I mean, it sounds like you used to fish for them and leave them a fish, but now you're teaching them how to fish.
Correct. And in a lot of cases, it's a combination, David. It could be things that are beyond their scope, right? Like maybe they'll bring us in a couple of times a year to do that. The rest of the things we're like, you created it, make it happen, and we'll help you implement it.
Yeah.
But you can do this, and they do, which is awesome.
Yeah. Well, and this is a great time to do a segue. Nick, you are speaking at an event that I'm having online on January 7th called the Levity Summit.
Yes.
You're one of our speakers, and you're going to do a little bit more teaching people how to fish in your presentation. So we appreciate that. Nick is one of 6 speakers that are going to be on January 7th from 10 until 4. We're going to learn from the best, including the godfather of fun. Doesn't get any better. and sales are going well, but some people are saying, Dave, I don't have 10 to 4 time frame to be online. I'm busy. And I'm like, that's okay. We're recording it, and you get the recording afterwards. And let's say like one morning we want to open up our meeting with Nick. We can do that, right? So you can alternate the speakers through your team. It's only $99 for 10 tickets. I mean, that sounds like a pretty good deal to me, right? So,
Good deal.
and then really, once you get the recording, I'm not going to know if you show it to your whole company. So whatever. But, we're trying to make it work for you. But go to davidmamano.com to learn more about the Levity Summit, and I hope you can make it. But Nick, getting back to you, what are some of the examples? Maybe you work with them, maybe not. What are some of the companies that we know today? I know you mentioned Southwest and Zappos. What are some of the companies today that you really respect for incorporating, fun into the workplace culture?
Yeah, so there's a number of those companies, and I'll focus on Zappos for a minute just because they were one of the real pioneers, and Tony Hsieh, who has since passed, but he created a company, a very mundane company, online shoes, right? That's not nothing flashy or fancy about that. But his whole concept was creating a company around culture, fun, and happiness. And they had people flying in from all over the country who wanted to work there. There was lines of people who wanted to work there. So it was super cool. Tony became a mentor for me, and we had each other's books on, bookshelves and so forth. So, that was all very cool, and I'm grateful for that experience. And then having worked with his company, consulting company, Delivering Happiness, which was one of the best culture companies, culture development companies in the country. So that was a really wonderful experience. But today, there's the companies that you all know and love, or maybe don't love, but you know them. So Google, for example, right? Like they're certainly one of those companies who fully embrace fun and happiness in the workplace. Most people don't know that Microsoft, including the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and they really do a lot in that space. Like they, you think of them as so serious and techie, but they very much utilize fun and joy in the workplace, and have programming around it. A number of financial institutions and pharmaceutical companies, probably more so, that do it than don't do it today, because it's imperative. And one of the things that's happened is, millennials are now 75% of the workforce. And if you want to hire a millennial, you can't look like vanilla toast, like it can't be like boring, and your website and the way you attract talent is, a lot of times it's the culture, it's fun, it's things that are going above and beyond what a lot of companies do. So it's pretty commonplace today. But we've had some long-standing clients like W.L. Gore, because they're in our area, and people know Gore-Tex and that product, but a very cool company, highly engineering oriented. But their founder, Bill Gore, said, we're going to make money and have fun along the way. I mean, that's how simple it was back then, and they still do, and they embrace that concept. And so it really, from healthcare, aerospace. I mean, I can think of a lot of examples. There's it's way more common today than what it used to be.
Yeah, I love that, and probably good thanks to you. So thank you for the work that you're doing. You've made a huge impact and dent in the fun world in the workplace. So thank you for that.
Sure.
And I think people get misconstrued in the fact that they think the office has to be full of stand-up comedians and we have to be laughing all the time. That's not the case, right? I mean, I think having a culture of lightness,
Yes.
having a sense of humor, right?
Uh-huh.
A lot of bosses, a lot of leaders will say, "Well, David, I'm not a comedian." Guess what? 99% of leaders, probably more, are not. So that's okay. But can you laugh at yourself? Can you be vulnerable a little bit? Can you not be so serious? Can you lighten your mood and cascade that to the rest of the company. Can you do that, please? Right. And then the benefits of that, of just like from the company being like, and, wanting to engage with the boss and the leader more and offer their ideas. And there's so many benefits to it. It's unbelievable. Right. And, I think about, and this is more about humor, I guess. But, the most boring, and now people argue with me, but one of the most boring industries, in the world is insurance, right? Like it's we have to have it, right? It's a law. We have to have car insurance and home insurance and et cetera, but not a sexy business. Like there's never been a show called, CSI Insurance Man, right? Like there's not been a TV show about insurance, right? That being said, what are the funniest commercials on TV now? Insurance commercials, right? We all know Flo and the Geico and the ostrich. I mean, we all know these people, and Jake from State Farm. And so they got it. They're like, you know what? If we add some humor into our marketing, it's going to make us a little more sexy, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And you're really so right about, leaders who, I would say 90% of the leaders I work with that fully embrace and want fun as part of their workplace culture are not comedic. They're usually analytical and kind of reserved, but they understand how it works and they want to participate. They want to be a part of it. So I always find that interesting. And the other thing that we always do when we're doing the workshops is we'll, in addition to the shared experience, which is, kind of everyone collectively, but we'll do your individual play personality so that people can find out, am I a joker? Am I a collaborator? What's my play personality? And it's always so interesting for people to discover that and then realize that, oh, cool, I don't have to be the person in the front of the room, like leading an event or activity. I can play at the level I'm comfortable with. And maybe that means keeping score of some activity, or working the music or doing something else that is more aligned with my play personality. So one of the tenets of what we do in our process and methodology is all-inclusive and non-threatening. We never want to put anybody in a place that they're not comfortable. And people are so relieved when they find that out because they'll come into a workshop and, oh my God, I'm going to have to get on a table in a hula skirt and do a dance. And it's never that. It's never that.
We're not going to laugh at you. We're going to laugh with you, right?
Yeah, right. Well, right. If someone wants to do that and that happens, that's totally on them. But those play personalities will naturally emerge in any group or team. And the beauty is everybody can participate. So we get 100% participation. So that's also a cool aspect of it, because a lot of times if you're going to a team building company and they're like, yeah, we're going to do a ropes contest, and a tug of war, and automatically people are so intimidated, they don't want to do that, so you really just let them determine what role they want to play, what the activity is, and again, keep it all inclusive.
Yeah, I like it. And I also hear just like compassionate, empathetic, supportive, right? I mean, humor can be all of those things, right?
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
You're kind of talking a little bit about like the tenets of improv comedy, where you never put the other person down. They can say something batshit crazy,
right?
And
right.
Good improv, like you never say like, no, what? You say like, yes, and right? Yes, and wow, that idea is something else. And what if we
didn't see that
added
coming?
This to it, right? And it's the inclusive comedy, like everybody loves Jerry O'Brien or Jerry. I'm going to say Conan O'Brien and Jerry Seinfeld, right? Because their comedy, like, it's not dirty, it's not mean, it kind of just. Like you feel you're on the ride with them,
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's fun. That's fun comedy, right?
And you know this as well as anybody because you are, comedic and improv and that world. But it's never taking a group who's at a 1 and taking them to a 10 in the first, that's just uncomfortable, So if we walk into a room or a space and, it's a all day conference and people have been beat up by numbers all day long and whatever, they're probably not in the mindset yet, right? So our goal is always to raise the level, continuously at a pace that's comfortable with, with the group, with the crowd. And if we get somebody from a 2 to a 7, that's a real win. They may not want to go to a 10, right? And if they do, God bless them. We can do that. That's awesome. But
Yep.
But it's really being conscious of that and letting people participate at the level they're comfortable.
Yeah, super fantastic. So, Nick, tell us about like the very beginning, if you don't mind, because I'm being an entrepreneur at heart as well. I love the startup story, right?
Yeah.
So 20 years ago, you're talking about fun, humor in the workplace. People are like, yeah, whatever, Nick, take care. Like, how did you get that flywheel turning to be able to start your own business and be a thriving business after all?
Yeah, so I do come from an entrepreneurial background. My father was a business guy, and so I got it. I always felt like it was something I wanted to do, and ultimately was going to do. And then I've always had fun, all my life. Like I just choose fun. I'm an eternal optimist, glass overflowing kind of guy, So I choose fun, and I was usually throwing the best parties and all that kind of stuff. So when I went into the work world and I looked around and I saw this kind of serious, heavy stuff, and I was like, man, how can we incorporate some levity into that space? And it just so happened that the company that I was with had that. They had their leadership embraced it, and it was part of their culture. Again, it was kind of old-fashioned fun, drinking heavily after work with your coworkers, which is fine, but we don't necessarily recommend that these days for a lot of obvious reasons. But that was really the genesis for it. And then I started to research and started to look at companies like Southwest and Zappos and the few examples that were there at the time. And then one of the key moments was I called an old friend, a guy named Dave Raymond. Some of you may or may not know that name, but he's the original Philly fanatic, right? So I called him and I said, hey, I have this concept for a business called the Fun Department. I know you're just retiring out of being the best mascot of all times, and he was doing mascot and character development as a business then. And I said, would you consider, out of costume, helping me get this business going? And so we always describe it 54 beers later, we said yes, in a handshake, and we started as business partners. But Dave was instrumental in helping me with that process. How do you get a crowd, an angry crowd? I mean, they would boo the Easter Bunny in the Phillies. I mean, they're a tough crowd, right? So, he was accustomed to doing things in a brief period of time, highly engaging, and just crazy great fun. So we incorporated some of those principles into it, and Dave was one of my original still a business partner today, which is awesome. A great keynote speaker on his own right. He tells some amazing stories, but that's how we started it, and people thought I was nuts. I mean, I had a killer job. I had a really good job making really great money, and I took the big plunge. Right, you go from making great money to zero, like that was kind of what happened. But in very short order, our first year was profitable, and we really started to develop this cult following of people that really recognize the value. And I'll point out AstraZeneca is one of our very first clients and still a client today. We just did something with them a couple of weeks ago. But they were one of our first clients, and they signed up for Big Fun. We didn't even know what Big Fun was back then, but they wanted Big Fun, and we wound up giving them a year of programming, and we custom designed stuff for them. So it really got us started, and from there it just kind of
Just
grew
blossomed.
on its own organically. And we've been a referral business, which has been pretty great because we haven't spent much money doing marketing. And when I analyzed it years ago, and I found out that 80% of our clients came from me being at a bar, having a conversation with somebody next to me going, "Hey, what do you do?" And the next thing you know, somebody's going, "You got to be kidding me, man. We need you at our place." So I don't go to bars nearly as much as I used to, but that was part of our success formula. I'll just say it. It was.
Yeah, I love it. Well, congratulations on all the work and really paving the way for a lot of us who are trying to bring culture to the next level, right? I mean, even 20 years ago, people were questioning, is culture training really worth it? And then now the people realize, like, oh, culture is the people. And yeah, they are kind of important, right? And but you were way ahead of the game saying not only culture, but fun. Like, we're going to infuse, people our age will get this, but if culture, is the speaker, fun and levity is the woofer. Right? I mean, we make it even better, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah, but that's our generation. I don't know if millennials know what a woofer is, but what we do know is millennials want to have fun at work, right? In fact, you'll like this. I just thought of this. I just saw a poll, statistic from the Gallup poll that said it's 91% of millennials insist on that the workplace needs to be fun. Yeah. Or they're gonna consider leaving.
They're gonna leave. They're gonna go somewhere else.
Yeah. So
without even having another job, they'll leave. I mean, that's how serious.
Yeah, because they're living with their parents. I mean,
yeah. But I love that generation. I do, and I think that and they work completely differently. They don't really care about 8 to 5. They'll get the job done. They'll get it done fast, and they
judge on results, right?
What the hours are, right? It's just results. So I have a lot of respect for that, that group. And you have to change, right? The world changes. I mean, COVID changed everything, so.
Yeah, it was changing anyway. COVID just sped it up, right?
Yeah. So, and on that subject, David, I know you've experienced this. We've talked about it where, COVID was the big disconnect, right? We all became isolated and everybody's working from home and, afraid to go out. And I think, we're still learning some of the ramifications from COVID, but we became very disconnected as a culture, as not just from work, but in general. And people are, human nature is to connect with one another. So there's kind of this resurgence back to that. The challenge is now that the generations now growing up with just tablets, cell phones, they're not used to interacting so much with one another. So a big part of our challenge is to find ways to get that group, to engage. We work a lot in the college and university space, and that's a real thing. A lot of these people are going to college, and they've really not had an interaction like you and I would have had when we were 15 years old or, much younger than their college age.
Yeah, and they have anxiety about going to events, networking events, parties, things like that. I just gave a seminar at a local school here, and the title was simply called, how to go to a networking event without feeling awkward.
That's a great subject.
It got packed, right? I mean, because this is on their mind. Like, I do want to go. I realize that I have to connect and meet and grow with people here. But I have anxiety attacks, and I'm awkward. I know I'm awkward, right? But that's okay. We all were kind of awkward, right? I probably still am awkward, right? But then you just kind of get comfortable and meet people and realize that we're all feeling a little bit awkward, and that's okay, right?
Right. Yes.
So, well, Nick, thank you so much. You are a tremendous friend, a tremendous person, a great human. I'm so glad you were born. I know you were talking about your father. I want to thank your father and your mother for having you. That was a great night. And fun night. It was a fun night. And so glad you're here. And again, I'm so glad that you are a speaker at my Levity Summit coming up January 7th. DavidRomano.com for tickets. You get to see Nick and some other great speakers who specialize in making the workplace not suck. Maybe that should be the name of the
Yeah, and if I could just take a moment and kudos back to you, David, because you've been a champion for all the years I've known you of getting this community together, right? Which is important, right? It's we're not competing against one another. We're really sharing information and trying to make the world a better place. So you do that so well, and I appreciate you.
Well, thank you. I love collaborating with great people like you. And, it's definitely like a kindred spirit club. And in my mind, what I've really done is created like a Swiss Army knife of fun and levity and joy, because all the people I'm working with, and all the people speaking at the event and more, like we each do something a little bit differently. Like I'm more of a keynote, I'm more of an MC. Somebody wants a full day workshop, et cetera. Like I'm calling you. Like I don't have that patience for the whole day, right? But give me an hour, I'll nail it, right? And so we all have something. This Gary Ware, who I just interviewed, and he's speaking at the event. He goes in and he does all these great these fun kind of improv games to create more teamwork and collaboration. So if somebody wants that, hey, Gary's your guy. So I love bringing us all together and just creating all these win-win situations, not only for ourselves to make a living, but just to spread what we're doing to more workplaces to create more engaging and fun and productive workplaces. So thank you for doing what you're doing, Nick. I love it. And appreciate
all the people I've met, I think most everybody, right, that's going to be at the summit. They're amazing, right? So they're all in their own world, known expertise. So
only the best. I got the Godfather of fun. Come on, does it get any better? Well, Nick, thank you so much. I wish you the very, very best, and I'll be seeing you soon at our event, and I'm sure before a couple times too. But thanks again for what you're doing, Nick.
The new year, right? A great way to kick off the new year with some fun and levity.
Great way.
Right? So I think
January 7th.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, Nick, I forgot. People want to learn more about you. It's the fun department.
Dept.com.
DEP,
So
right.
you don't spell it all the way out. It's just the fun Dept.com. And if you spell it out, there's a Cher impersonator I think you'll be connected with. But if you don't spell it out, you'll come to the fun department. So
all right, there you go. And if anybody just wants to bypass that and wants a personal connection to Nick, throw me an email, david@davidmamano.com. And I'll do a personal intro. And I didn't even ask Nick if I could do that because I know he would say yes anyway because he's such a great guy.
Of course.
He's Greek and Italian. He loves people. Come on, bring it on, right? So.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, David.
Well, Nick, thank you, Nick. I appreciate your time. And go take a nap now, okay?
It's been a long week.
It's a quiet house. No more company. Good for you. Thanks, Nick. I also want to thank everybody for listening and or watching. Again, I'm honored. I know there's so many podcasts out there to watch and listen to. So thank you for spending your heartbeats with the David Mamano Show. Very much appreciated. We have a new episode or a best of episode sometimes I run every Wednesday morning. So happy. You can always learn more at davidmamano.com. Make sure to have a great day and stay awesome.